what explosive secret did a U.S. colonel's defiance unleash in a guard's deadly silence? Buckingham Palace, shrouded in mist, stood like a fortress of secrets. But what explosive secret did a U.S. colonel's defiance unleash in a royal guard's deadly silence? Welcome to our channel where stories ignite your soul. Picture this: a crisp London morning, 5,000 miles from the Pentagon, where NATO flags snap and cameras flash like lightning. Lieutenant Colonel John Harper, 42, 200 pounds of Marine grit, storms in, sneering at the circus of tradition. His target? Sergeant Thomas Bennett, 29, 6 feet 2 inches, a battle-scarred hero whose 18-inch bearskin hat hides a military cross earned 4,000 miles away in Afghanistan's fire. Harper's voice booms 50 feet from a gasping crowd. "These guards are mannequins!" But when he demands a salute, 2 feet from Bennett's post, the air crackles. Bennett's silence, a coiled grenade, meets Harper's fury like a thunderclap. With one icy move, Bennett pushes Harper's hand from his rifle, his voice cutting, "You're violating protocol, sir!" Harper's ego shatters, the moment exploding online, a viral tsunami shaking hearts worldwide. From London pubs to NATO summits, Bennett's stand redefines respect, while Harper's pride burns to ash. What secret sparked this global firestorm? Why does this 30-second clash still haunt millions? Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? New York, Tokyo? Tell us, whose side are you on? Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Tomorrow's story will blow you away. Join us, 50 feet from history, and uncover the truth. In the soft, clinging mist of a London morning, Buckingham Palace stood resolute, its ancient stones whispering tales of tradition. The air buzzed with anticipation as tourists, their cameras flashing like fireflies, gathered to glimpse the scarlet-clad royal guards, statuesque in their disciplined stillness. It was a stage set for diplomacy, for history. Yet today, it would host a clash of pride and principle. A convoy of sleek black SUVs rolled through the palace gates, their NATO flags snapping in the breeze, announcing an American military delegation here for a high-stakes leadership summit, 5,000 miles from the Pentagon's concrete halls. Stepping from his vehicle, Lieutenant Colonel John Harper, 42, cut an imposing figure. At 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds, his Marine Corps uniform gleamed with medals earned in the dust of Iraq and Afghanistan. His sharp eyes scanned the palace grounds, impatience etched into his weathered face. "All this pomp," he muttered to his aide, Major Daniel Brooks. "For a meeting we could have held stateside, what's the point of this theater?" Brooks, non-committal, glanced at a nearby guard, a figure of perfection in red tunic and towering bearskin hat, standing 18 inches tall. That guard was Sergeant Thomas Bennett, 29, 6 feet 2 inches, 180 pounds, his gaze fixed in a 1,000-yard stare, betraying nothing. Bennett was no mere symbol. A combat veteran with 4 tours, including a classified mission in Afghanistan 4,000 miles from this misty morning, he'd earned the Military Cross for saving lives under fire. His discipline, honed in battle and ceremony, was a steel thread, weaving his dual role as soldier and icon. Harper, however, saw only a statue. "Look at that!" he scoffed, his voice carrying across the 50-foot expanse of gravel. "A fancy hat and a frozen pose. What's the battlefield value of standing still?" The crowd stirred, sensing tension, their murmurs blending with the mist. As the delegation moved through the palace gardens, guided by a British official droning about historic roses, Harper's gaze kept drifting to Bennett. His skepticism curdled into provocation. "These guards," he said loudly, interrupting the guide, "they're just for tourists, right? Mannequins in red coats." Colonel William Carter, the senior American officer, frowned. "They're active soldiers, John. They rotate between ceremony and combat." Harper's eyebrow arched. "Seems a waste. In the Marines, we train for action, not posing." Across the grounds, Captain Robert Hayes, 35, Bennett's commander, watched closely. He knew Bennett's record, his unyielding calm under pressure. Trouble was brewing, a storm about to break, and Harper, standing just 2 feet from Bennett's post, was ready to ignite it. The mist choked Buckingham Palace, a gray shroud over its ancient stones, where tradition stood like a fortress against the chaos of a brewing storm. From that electric morning, where Lieutenant Colonel John Harper's sneers at the Royal Guards lit a fuse in the crowd 50 feet away, 2 warriors locked eyes in a silent war. Sergeant Thomas Bennett, the unyielding sentinel, and Harper, the brash Marine, were no mere men. They were titans, their motives clashing like thunder, each heartbeat a countdown to an explosion. This wasn't just a standoff, it was pride versus principle, and only one would walk away unbroken. Sergeant Thomas Bennett, 29, loomed at 6 feet 2 inches, his 180-pound frame carved from steel and scars. Beneath that crimson tunic, under the 18-inch bearskin hat, he was a lion in chains. Afghanistan, 4,000 miles from this misty battleground, had forged him. His military cross won for dragging 10 brothers from a hail of bullets, his name whispered in awe. Why stand like stone while Harper mocked him 2 feet away? Duty burned in his veins. The Royal Guard wasn't some tourist show. It was a blood oath to the crown, a legacy etched in centuries of sacrifice. Bennett's silence roared louder than any shout. His unflinching stare, a blade of resolve, sliced through Harper's taunts, proving strength isn't loud, it's unbreakable. Lieutenant Colonel John Harper, 42, stormed the scene, 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds of raw power, his medals gleaming from wars fought 5,000 miles across the Atlantic. His eyes, sharp as shrapnel, cut across the palace grounds, disgust curling his lip. Harper didn't just want respect, he demanded it. To him, Bennett's stillness was a mockery, a relic of a bygone era, useless against the Marines' relentless drive. Why push? Why provoke? Harper lived for control. His 20 years in Iraq's infernos teaching him rank ruled all. NATO protocol, ironclad across nations, should bend this statue to his will. But his arrogance was a blindfold, hiding the truth. Bennett wasn't just a guard, he was a warrior, and Harper's challenge was a spark in a powder keg. This collision was destiny. Harper's hunger for dominance smashed against Bennett's ironclad duty, like a freight train meeting a mountain. Logically, Harper misread the board, seeing a pawn where a king stood tall. Bennett's calm wasn't surrender. It was a coiled spring ready to snap. This wasn't just personal. It was America's go-getter grit slamming into Britain's granite tradition. As Harper leaned closer, his boots crunching gravel, the crowd, 50 feet back, froze. Their breaths held. The air crackled. A single move could ignite it all. Who'd flinch first, Bennett's steel or Harper's fire? The mist hung heavy over Buckingham Palace, a silent witness to the brewing storm sparked by Lieutenant Colonel John Harper's scorn for tradition, his words slicing through the crowd 50 feet from Sergeant Thomas Bennett's post. From that charged morning, where NATO flags fluttered 5,000 miles from the Pentagon, the stage shifted from diplomacy to defiance. Harper, fueled by arrogance, was no longer just a guest. He was a challenger, his boots itching to shatter the palace's sacred calm. What unfolded was no mere exchange, but a high-stakes showdown, each moment a spark threatening to ignite an inferno. Harper, 42, 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds, strode from his SUV, his medals glinting like daggers. "This pomp," he sneered to Major Daniel Brooks, "is a circus 5,000 miles from real soldiering." His eyes locked on Bennett, 29, 6 feet 2 inches, 180 pounds, a crimson statue under an 18-inch bearskin hat. Bennett, a hero forged in Afghanistan's fire 4,000 miles away, stood unmoved, his military cross a silent testament to his grit. Harper's voice boomed 50 feet from the crowd. "These guards, tourist bait, mannequins in red." Colonel William Carter, 55, snapped, "They're soldiers, John." But Harper's smirk only widened, his challenge brewing like thunder. As the delegation trailed a guide through the palace gardens, Harper's taunts grew bolder. He broke ranks, striding 2 feet from Bennett's post, his boots crunching gravel. The crowd, 50 feet back, froze, cameras poised. "Impressive pose," Harper mocked, his voice ablade. "But what's the tactical edge of playing statue?" Major Brooks, sensing disaster, urged, "Sir, the group's moving." But Harper waved him off, circling Bennett like a predator. "Marines react," he taunted. "We don't hide behind ceremony." Bennett's gaze, a steel wall, betrayed nothing. His silence a grenade with the pin half pulled. The tension snapped when Harper planted himself inches from Bennett, blocking his line of sight. "I'm Lieutenant Colonel John Harper, United States Marine Corps," he bellowed, his voice echoing across the grounds. "NATO protocol demands juniors salute superiors. Salute me now." The command cracked like a whip, the crowd gasping, 50 feet away. Bennett stood frozen, a mountain against Harper's storm. Then, with surgical precision, his gloved hand moved, gently but firmly pushing Harper's fingers from his rifle. "Sir," Bennett's voice cut, steady as granite, "you're violating Standing Order 157, prohibiting contact with the Queen's Guard. This is a security breach. Return to the viewing area now." Harper's jaw dropped, his bravado crumbling. Captain Robert Hayes, 35, Bennett's commander, stepped in, his presence a blade through the chaos. "Lieutenant Colonel," Hayes said, ice cold. Sergeant Bennett followed protocol. "His duty is to the crown, not you." The crowd held its breath, the mist itself seeming to pause. Had Harper met his match, or would he push further into the abyss? The air at Buckingham Palace crackled, the mist a taut curtain over the clash that had just erupted. From the heart-pounding moment where Sergeant Thomas Bennett's steady voice cut through Lieutenant Colonel John Harper's thunderous command, 2 feet from his post, the showdown had shifted from a personal duel to a global lesson. Harper's arrogance, shattered 50 feet from a gasping crowd, left echoes far beyond London's ancient stones. This wasn't just a standoff, it was a crucible, forging truths about respect, discipline, and the cost of pride, each lesson a beacon for a world watching 5,000 miles away. Why did this moment sear itself into history? Respect, or its absence, was the spark. Harper, 42, 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds, saw Bennett's stillness as weakness. His 18-inch bearskin hat a prop in a tourist trap. But Bennett, 29, 6 feet 2 inches, 180 pounds, embodied a legacy 4,000 miles from Afghanistan's battlefields, where he'd earned his military cross. His refusal to salute wasn't defiance. It was fidelity to the crown, a duty outweighing NATO's chain of command. Harper's demand, rooted in a belief that rank ruled all, ignored the Royal Guard's sacred role. Logically, his misstep was cultural blindness. He failed to see that tradition, far from obsolete, is a steel spine for soldiers like Bennett. This clash teaches us respect isn't shouted, it's earned through understanding, not orders. Discipline, Bennett's unyielding shield, was the second lesson. When Harper's hand grazed his rifle, a violation 50 feet from stunned onlookers, Bennett's response, calm, precise, citing Standing Order 157, was a masterclass in control. His silence, stronger than any roar, proved discipline isn't passivity. It's power, coiled and ready. Harper, forged in Iraq's chaos, prized action over restraint, but his reckless challenge, 2 feet from Bennett, cost him credibility. The logic is clear. True strength lies in holding ground, not lashing out, a truth that resonates from palace gates to Pentagon halls, 5,000 miles apart. The consequences sealed the final lesson. Harper's humiliation, captured on a tourist's phone, exploded online, a viral firestorm titled "Guard School's Cocky Colonel." His career stalled, his name a punchline at NATO summits. Bennett, hailed as a hero, inspired a generation, his story etched in a plaque, his military cross drawing pilgrims to a regimental museum. This wasn't just personal. It was a cultural reckoning. America's brash pragmatism, embodied in Harper, met Britain's granite tradition and blinked. The fallout, NATO talks on Allied protocols, a Canadian student's scholarship essay, proved respect forges unity, while pride fractures it. As the crowd dispersed, the mist lifting, a question lingered, sharp as a blade. When we demand respect, do we earn it, or merely expose our flaws? The mist over Buckingham Palace had barely lifted, yet the clash between Sergeant Thomas Bennett and Lieutenant Colonel John Harper, a firestorm of pride and duty, sent shockwaves far beyond its ancient walls. From the searing lessons of respect and discipline, forged in that heart-stopping moment 2 feet from Bennett's post, the story exploded, a spark igniting hearts 5,000 miles across the Atlantic. This wasn't just a palace incident, it was a global reckoning, its ripples reshaping lives, sparking debates, and binding nations in a crucible of shared values. The world watched, 50 feet from that fateful standoff, and nothing would be the same. The digital age amplified the drama. A tourist's shaky video capturing Harper's bellow and Bennett's steely resolve hit the internet like a thunderbolt, racking up millions of views within 24 hours. Titled "Guard Humiliates Arrogant Colonel," it became a cultural touchstone 4,000 miles from Afghanistan's scars, where Bennett earned his military cross. British headlines roared, unearthing Bennett's heroism, his 6 feet 2 inches, 180-pound frame saving 10 lives under fire. Harper, 42, 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds, faced a digital guillotine. His career stalled, his name mocked at NATO summits 3,500 miles away. Logically, the viral fallout exposed a truth. Pride isolates, but duty inspires. Bennett's stand, rooted in tradition, became a beacon for respect, while Harper's misstep fueled calls for cultural humility. Communities felt the impact. In London, a 15-year-old Jack Tate, grandson of a veteran, enlisted, citing Bennett's calm under Harper's storm, 50 feet from the crowd. Across the Atlantic, a Marine in Virginia, inspired by the clip, drilled harder in ceremonial rites, seeing their worth. Emma Wilson, a Canadian student, turned her video into a scholarship-winning essay on cross-cultural respect, her words echoing 3,000 miles from Buckingham's gates. These ripples weren't random. They stemmed from Bennett's discipline, a 29-year-old's refusal to bend, proving one moment can ignite a movement. Harper's lesson, learned in silence years later at a NATO conference, showed even pride can crack. His grudging nod to Bennett, a faint spark of redemption. On a grander scale, NATO itself shifted. The incident, a mere 2 feet of defiance, spurred talks on Allied protocols, strengthening bonds across 5,000 miles. Pubs in London raised glasses to Bennett, his 18-inch bearskin hat a symbol of grit. Museums displayed his military cross, drawing notes from veterans. One scrawled 4,000 miles from Kabul. "You showed us duty." This wasn't just a story. It was a mirror, forcing us to ask, voice trembling, when we clash, do we build bridges or burn them? As the world spun on, Bennett's stand, a single act in the mist, proved respect and duty can echo forever, shaking souls from palaces to plains. The echoes of Sergeant Thomas Bennett's stand against Lieutenant Colonel John Harper still thundered, a seismic wave from Buckingham Palace that reshaped lives 5,000 miles away as viral videos and NATO talks burned bright. From that global firestorm, where a single act 50 feet from a stunned crowd sparked a movement, the story's raw power lies in its crafting, a pulse-pounding tale told through an American lens, drenched in drama and anchored by measurements that hit home. This isn't just storytelling, it's a cinematic blaze, its style and precision, like a Marine's aim, striking deep into the heart of a nation that craves intensity. Why does this story grip like a blockbuster? Its American style is a fist to the gut. Every line crackles with vivid imagery, mist choking the palace, Harper's sneer slicing the air, Bennett's silence a loaded gun. This is no dry history lesson. It's a high-octane clash, 2 feet from destiny, where pride and duty collide like freight trains. The language, sharp as shrapnel, mirrors America's love for bold, emotional narratives. Harper, 42, 5 feet 11 inches, 200 pounds, embodies the brash, go-getter spirit. Bennett, 29, 6 feet 2 inches, 180 pounds, channels quiet grit. Their duel, framed by a 50-foot crowd and an 18-inch bearskin hat, feels personal, urgent, a mirror to the American ethos of individual triumph. Logically, this style works because it transforms a protocol spat into a universal saga, resonating from London's cobblestones to Pentagon halls, 5,000 miles apart. The focus on individuals, Harper's fall, Bennett's rise, anchors the drama. Americans cheer underdogs, and Bennett's stand, 4,000 miles from Afghanistan's scars where he earned his military cross, screams resilience. The story's optimistic close, with Harper's grudging nod years later, 3,500 miles from the palace, feeds the U.S. hunger for redemption. This isn't random. It's calculated, each emotional peak. Crowds gasping, videos exploding, crafted to hook a culture that thrives on spectacle. The narrative's pulse, beating through 24-hour viral cycles, proves storytelling is power, turning a 30-second standoff into a legend. Single units of measurement ground this epic in American reality. Feet, inches, pounds, miles, they're not just numbers, they're the language of home. Bennett's 6'2" frame towers over Harper's 5'11" bulk, their clash a mere 2 feet apart. The 50-foot crowd, the 5,000-mile gap to the Pentagon, the 4,000-mile echo of Afghanistan all paint a vivid map. The 18-inch bearskin hat, a symbol of duty, stands tall in every frame. Logically, these units make the story tangible, letting listeners measure the stakes, from a rifle's grip to a transatlantic divide. They root the drama in a familiar pulse, making Bennett's stand feel as close as a hometown street. As the mist fades, the story's American heartbeat, its drama, its heroes, its yards and pounds, demands a question, raw and urgent. What stories will we tell, 50 feet from our own battles, to shake the world? The mist has cleared, but the fire of Sergeant Thomas Bennett's stand against Lieutenant Colonel John Harper still burns, a clash of pride and duty that shook Buckingham Palace and hearts 5,000 miles away. Now, it's your turn to step into this story. What hit you hardest? Was it Bennett's steely silence, 2 feet from Harper's storm, or Harper's hard-learned lesson in humility? Drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts, your city, maybe New York, Tokyo, or a quiet corner 4,000 miles from anywhere. Did Bennett's grit inspire you, or did Harper's misstep spark a memory? Share it. Your voice, like that crowd 50 feet away, can keep this tale alive. If this saga of respect and discipline gripped you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Tomorrow, another story, raw and electric, waits to ignite your soul. Join our community, from London's ancient stones to your screen, and let's uncover the truths that bind us. Don't just watch, be part of the journey. Where are you tuning in from? What's your take on this epic showdown? Comment now, and let's make the world hear your story.